Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the Super Kai Guy channel. Today I will show you what you can expect when purchasing a car at an auction. Alright guys, so as I mentioned in my previous video, I bought this car at an auction, specifically an insurance auction, where a lot of cars go to basically die. Well, not die, but a lot of times used for parts or repaired if they're not, super damaged. But usually it's cars that have a lot of mechanical damage, crashed, flooded, things like that. But I've had luck with that stuff before, as I've purchased my Z4 from the same auction, and I replaced the engine in it, and I've been driving it for over 2 years now, and I love it. So I was hoping for similar results with this car as well. Of course, I did see certain parts that were damaged, like the hood right here. You can see that the clear coat is peeling and you have scratches, deep scratches on it. I knew that was there, and I could faintly see the bumper being damaged as well. But unfortunately, the car was pretty dirty in the pictures, and you couldn't really see a lot of the other items that I will show you now. Of course, the car was not running. It was a repossession. So as I mentioned in my previous video, when you buy a repossession, there is no key, so you have to get the key from a dealer after you have proven your ownership. And when I did that, the car wouldn't start. So that, of course, is a big issue. We'll get to that in a minute. But some of the items that I did not see as a problem when I bought the car is the windshield that's being cracked. There's a crack right here and another crack right there. So that's kind of a big deal. These are expensive, right? Wasn't aware of it, so that's something to look out for. And of course, that's where it happened. I'm not sure if something fell or what might have happened, but it could be related to the damage on the hood as well. But of course, as you can see, the actual state of the car outside is not great. It was also missing this little piece over the keyhole, and some of the trim is falling off. And of course, I have just replaced that glass, so I can leave the car outside or take it for a wash. As you can see, I took it for a wash, and it's revealed a few more issues that I wasn't expecting. I'll show you that in a second. So looking in the back bumper here, it's not too bad actually, pretty decent. There are a couple of scratches here in the bottom, as well as one right there, but that doesn't bother me too much. Of course, this side has a full side basically scratched with a key. So somebody was not happy that their car was being repossessed, and I get it, I guess, but you don't have to be like that. Pay your bills, people. The bigger problem that I did not see until basically today, because it was covered in dirt on top so you couldn't see, is this. So this is a carbon fiber reinforced plastic, I believe, and repairing this is, I mean, I'm not really sure how you would even repair it. It probably need a specialist or something like that, but that's a little bit disappointing. It looks like somebody attempted a repair, but not very good. So maybe what I will do is actually get this repaired, patched, and then just paint the roof. That's a possibility. I mean, it's a pretty cool look right now because you can see the fibers in that plastic, but I could lose that just to have a nicer, roof. My plan for actually fixing all of the paint is probably going to be maybe painting this myself, painting the bumper myself if needed. If it's just the scratches, I'll probably leave it alone, and I'll just do a wrap on the car, something interesting, something cool, maybe a brighter color coming down the side and the bumper, and leave this and this black, maybe even wrap the roof after I fix it, things like that. So I think the paint part will be fixable, which it's might be a little expensive, but I paid less than $10,000 for this car, and at the moment it's worth probably closer to 18 if a lot of the stuff is fixed up. So I think we can get it in pretty good shape. Now, the second biggest issue is just how disgusting it is inside. Today I'm actually gonna clean it out and see what I can do. I don't know if it's gonna be possible, but if you take a look, there is some really gross stuff. That's a cigarette burn, looks like. So I might have to replace the entire panel, or even this as well. So maybe just literally the entire door panel. We'll see. They're pretty easy to remove. I'll just have to see how expensive they are, but this is pretty gross, and it might just make more sense to replace it. I'll attempt cleaning it, but I'm not very optimistic about that. This seat will also need to be either recovered or replaced. I did look up the prices for this, and it's like $300 for the bottom part, or I think 500 for the entire seat. So I might do that if it doesn't come out cleaning. If it doesn't come out that well in cleaning. Of course, we cannot, repair this in this spot right here, but if it's clean enough, I can maybe drive it for a few months before I actually do something with the interior. The rest of it is just dirty, so I think that's definitely cleanable. The back has a decent amount of stains, but like I said, I think I can clean that, as well as the bottom here. I can vacuum everything out, make everything pretty clean, and I'll do that in my next video, get everything nice and clean. But yeah, this is definitely an issue when you buy cars online or at an auction, because if you look from far, kind of from this picture, and it's kind of a blurry picture, yeah, it looks kind of like there's a couple of stains here and there, but it's not too bad. But then when you get close, which you don't get to see in pictures at an auction, unless you actually show up to the auction. But this car came from California and I'm in Illinois, so it would be a little bit difficult, let's just say. But yeah, so those are the two major issues. Of course, I'm not even talking about, the car missing a key. So when I got the car, I had to pull it off the trailer, as I mentioned in the previous video, and it was very difficult to do so without the key. And then that's what brings me to the biggest or the scariest issue that I had with the car. And that was when I got the car, I put the key in, the car recognized the key, but of course I had to jump the battery, so the battery was completely dead. What I did is just connect it to another battery and a charger, and it actually came back, and it's been fine for a couple of days now, so I think we were able to save it. But even after I got the little battery working, I still had a major problem with the car. When I tried to turn it on and put it in drive, it would just tell me that the high voltage system cannot be initiated and there's some kind of issue, which is a scary thing to think about, especially if I don't have any experience with EVs. Basically, by reading online, people have told me that there is a fuse inside this part right here. So there's like a pyrotechnic type of fuse that blows if the car's in an accident or something like that. And if it blows, you basically cannot initiate, or the high voltage system cannot start up. So okay, I was like, well, that's fine. I can probably get this cable right here. There's a repair cable for this, and it could be replaced, and it's about $400. Kind of hurts, but pretty doable. But then of course I also read online that people were saying, hey, if it was actually in a crash, and this kind of leads me to believe that it might have been in maybe not a big crash or anything, there's no damage here, but it might have been a tiny crash, and then the big battery that has the high voltage battery could actually have an issue. And what those issues are is there's a very similar type of fuse in that big battery that blows, and if it does, you have to drop the battery in order to replace it. And I think that's pretty much only to be done by professionals, because you don't want to be messing with 360 volts that could easily kill you. Now I'm gonna play you a little clip from a couple of days ago when I actually found what the issue was, and I think you can tell how excited I was that I actually fixed it. Another thing worth mentioning is the broken front trunk basket. I assume it was cracked at the same time as the windshield and the windshield surround. Something must have fallen on it or something like that. I'm not really sure. Maybe that's why the paint's missing on the hood as well. Maybe it was all affected at the same time. I'm not really sure, but my plan here is to repair this plastic as much as I can, make it kind of usable so I can put it back in the car, and then maybe wrap it in like nice waterproof carpet. That way it looks nicer and it kind of hides the damage, and I can actually put stuff in it that's not gross like this. It also came with the original tire inflator and some goo for the tires. I would never use it, but it's good to have, I guess, just in case. Of course, it's super dirty and there's like mushrooms and stuff growing in it, so that's pretty gross. Also came with the original charger that I have in the garage at the moment, and it actually works. And I have the original plastic that goes in here. It just needs to be clipped in. Another item here is the tint. As you can see, it's peeled over here, and there's a lot of pinholes and things like that on other windows as well. And obviously, after installing the new glass. This one's missing, so I'm gonna remove the old tint from most of the car and just put new one in that's, well, actually legal in this state, because this is like 5% tint. Another thing here is this antenna. As you can see, the original protective plastic or whatever is just disintegrated, so I'm gonna have to take this off and put a new one in. Hopefully it's not too difficult. It might be if I need to remove the headliner in the car. And another thing is when you open or close the trunk here, let me attempt to do this. You can see the spoiler, it rubs on the roof right there. Look at that, see? Doesn't look so bad when you close it, but when you try to open it, see how it bends in? And it does that. So there's something that's not completely flush there. I hope I can move the spoiler back. It's removable, I believe, so I think I can move it just back a little bit and it'll be fine. Otherwise I might just have to prop that middle part up a little bit so it doesn't get caught on it. I'm sure I will find more issues as I continue to work on the car, but that's it so far. On that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something about buying a car at an auction. If you have any questions, leave those down below and I'll be happy to answer them. See you in the next one.